Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 5 of Doskvol Dandies, a Blades in the Dark live play stream where we are all newbies to the fantastic Blades in the Dark RPG system. It's a one-book system by the fabulous John Harper. I am Dan, otherwise known as Code Marvelous, your game master, and I have with me four intrepid thieves who make up my players. Why don't we just start with Aaron, and then we'll go around clockwise. Everybody just say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Howdy.
So, very briefly, since we've been on a bit of a hiatus, let's talk a little bit about the high-level overview of your character that you're playing and what your role, generally speaking, in the party is, and what your vice is. Let's start with you, Birdie.
My vice is what I'm trying to escape. I play the role of a hound, so I go out and find people, and then I kill them from far away so they don't know it was me. I'm trying to make money to get away from my shitty family, which is my vice, my obligation to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Simon.
I'm Bluefoot. I'm a leech, which means that I'm sort of a tinkerer, alchemist type. I faked my death to get out of an indenture, to get out of indentured servitude, and I have strong views about it.
About being dead or not being dead? Or indentured servitude?
All of the above.
All of the above?
Bluefoot is a strong opinions kind of guy.
That seems fair.
He's cute.
All right. Emrys?
I am Abernathy, the spider. What that means is I am the person who knows people. I am the person who plans the plans and tries to make sure everything gets done, although not necessarily by me. And my vice is pleasures of the flesh.
All right. And Aaron?
My character is Jonas. I am a whisper. I am kind of the opposite of Abernathy. While he knows people, I know ghosts.
Well, you know former people.
I know former people, yes.
You know the ghosts formerly known as people. Yeah, ex people. So we're actually we're getting somewhere with the gang, surprisingly enough. We've gone through several scores, and the gang has been growing pretty steadily. Let's take a look at that real quick, just to kind of update our audience as where exactly we are with the gang. So the Dandies are a crew of shadows, which is kind of a more traditional thieves guild type setup, or thieves, spies, kind of the traditional roguish people. You guys have reached up to the tier 1 out of tier 0. You've climbed out of scrub tier. And you've got a bunch of different things going on, which we're going to start working on. Because you had to locate Kieran Barden, the Iron Shield, which you guys completed last time, which is somebody that Alexandra wanted you to kill. Who is a demon that gave you guys a huge boon of wealth in return for taking care of someone that has been hunting her agents in the city. So that was a little devil's bargain that you took. So, the next score, we were discussing before the session began, that you were thinking that we would do some type of score to set up going after the Iron Shield. So talk to me a little bit about, what kind of opportunity you're looking for, high level, and I can try to put something together. Because remember, you do already have a connectivity to the inspectors, not to the wardens themselves, but certainly to the inspectors.
So we know that he's hiding out at the Church of Ecstasy. Let's see, what else I got note-wise? It's consecrated ground. I'm not sure if that helps or hurts us.
Well, no. It's not actually about going to get
Right.
him. It's about you want some
Setting
sort of
up, right.
additional information.
Right. So that's something we know about him, is that he's hiding out there.
I think it would be good to either ingratiate ourselves with the cult so we can go there and not be seen as out of place, or to befriend someone who would know his route and know when he is out of its protection. Because we need an opportunity, and that's either at home or not at home, and one of those two would cover either of those.
Okay. What do the other party members think?
I mean, I'm interested in finding out what are we doing to him? Are we killing him, or are we disabling him in some way?
I'll say let's, and this might be in Jonas's wheelhouse, to do some ritual research to figure out what kind of rituals this spirit warden is using, so that we can know how best to target him. If he's doing gestural magic, we can break his hands.
Or cut them off.
Or make it backfire and blow him up.
I mean, functionally, that's the same as killing him.
But then it doesn't look like we did it.
How about if we traumatize him so badly that he never wants to do that again?
Okay.
No,
That's going to be tough, considering he's somebody who fights demons for a living.
Right.
I feel like the bar for that's pretty high.
Well, he never mind.
But yeah, all right.
I'm not going to go there.
So basically, we don't have to belabor this. Let's jump into whether or not we are going to, you can use one of your contacts, basically get a seed, and you choose how you're going in, and then we go from there. So it sounds like you want to try to infiltrate the cult that he is hiding out with, or get more information about them so you can make a smoother, more covert entry for the actual mission. Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
Now, who remembers the faction that he's hiding out with?
I got the name of the church, but not a faction.
What was the name of the church that I gave you?
Church of Ecstasy.
Okay. So, does anybody have any connectivity? I would say that if no one else, Emrys has connectivity to that faction.
I've probably heard something or somewhat of members there at the, one moment, at Madame Teslin's pleasure house, I'm sure. If nobody else has any ideas.
No, I only have an assassin and a bounty hunter. And our group contact was a steel broker.
So here's what we're... Now this can basically be a score where the goal is to create multiple advantages, like material advantages, for the score to actually get rid of the iron shield. So that's our goal. There's multiple ways that can happen. There can be analyzing of the church. But the church itself, this particular Church of Ecstasy, he has chosen this as his hideout. It's this huge, looming church made out of a lot of rare arcane metals, or arcane-infused metals, and having a lot of very high-end technology and architecture built into it. Because the Church of Ecstasy is like a secret society, like the cult of Bacchus was back in the day, or any of the other mystery religions. So no one who is not a member is going to be found on the grounds of this place. So if you want to take a softer entry, I think there's going to be two parts that you're going to want to be investigating. Simon Bluefoot and potentially Daimi may want to investigate the actual building itself, gain access to it, or find some way to undermine its security or structure. And then also, you may, if you want to do a complete soft entry, Jonas and Abernathy and potentially Birdie may need to, or Simon as well, may need to infiltrate and get invited as new members of the society, which can be done using Emerus's contacts, but there are risks involved.
I was thinking that might actually be the easiest to do, is if, somebody who I know, I try to get myself invited in while I'm going there and working through some stress, and then we just can go in as a group to see about becoming initiates.
So this is the score. The score is after all of that happens, okay? And the score is you at some sort of social function trying to convince them to let you in. Right? Or trying to contact the correct people and get invited into the cult. Now, the other options that you can do to try to figure out is you can try to do find a faction that would have more information on the Iron Shield and try to extract information that way by doing a mission for them and trading it. It's really up to you all. There's multiple options. The world is your very crappy black oil covered oyster. But yeah. So do we have a type of score that you all want to do?
We like as our contact point? Like what's our engagement?
So you have to tell me what kind of score you're looking for right now. You don't have to tell me what specifically the mission is, but do you want to do a social mission to try to get an advantage on him? Do you want to do a job for somebody else to gain information or leverage over him from another faction? Do you want to try to infiltrate the building with second story work and try to figure out your point of entry for the next score that way?
Someone said earlier about finding out the route he takes. Like, can we just do a straight up and down?
Okay.
Investigate.
So I think we're doing this all wrong. I think if you guys want to go after him, we're just gonna go for him, and any advantages that you want are just gonna be flashbacks and gear.
Cool.
Okay. I can live with that.
Simplified. I like.
I think I'm understanding what you're saying when you say we should do something else first to build it up. Like, what do you mean we need more before we go after him? We already know where he is. I don't know. Thinking as a hound, I have my target. I can if I find out what his route is, I can headshot him and get him out of the game.
So why don't we do it as a whatchamajig? Let me get back to the planning thing. We could just do the whole score as a social thing. The detail would be the social connection would be, say, me trying to talk us in, and then we would go in to try to kill him that way, rather than making us talking and getting in its own separate score.
Yep. So if you do social connection, I would say that in this case, let me look at your sheet. Let's bring him up here. Abernathy. Why isn't it bringing up? There it is. So I would say that your connection into this is your vice dealer. However, in this case, you are going to, this is going to be a risk for you. So
Okay.
if this is successful, there's going to be no change to your relationship with your vice dealer. If this really goes south, they don't care if you kill him. They care if it gets traced back to you. Right? Or traced back to them. Then you are going to have to... You're not going to be able to use your vice during downtime because you're going to have to do a long-term project to find a new vice purveyor.
Ouch.
Ouch. Well,
I like it.
There's
And that's how you play the game, kids!
yep.
Now, if you take this, I'll give the engagement roll an additional die.
As a devil's sure, I will go ahead and take that devil's bargain. It's all about the risks, right?
All right. Yeah. You want to just notate that on your character sheet?
Okay, let's put that on notes.
Yep. And then in a second here, let's go around while he's typing that up. Let's talk about gear for this for everybody else, and then we'll do gear for Abernathy and jump right into the engagement roll. Simon, how much gear? We're taking a social tack here. You're muted.
Still muted.
Can't hear you. All right, we'll jump up. Aaron.
Since we're going social, I think light would be about the best way to go.
All right. So everybody in this game has items that they can take with them. So if we jump back over real quick, if you look on this part of the screen here, everybody has things that they can take with them, and based on your items. So in this case, if we have a light load, like for Dolbin or Bluefoot, they can take any of these items, but only up to 3 squares worth. So it dramatically changes what you're able to do, but obviously it also affects risk levels and other things like that. All right, let's go back over here. So light, Birdie, what are you bringing?
I'm gonna go light as well.
All right.
I can only see 3 things on here I'd need.
Only 3 things that you think you'd need. Simon, what about you? Nope, still silent. Does your mic itself have a mute button that you hit?
I might have hit a mute button. Can you hear me now?
Now
Yeah.
I can hear
Yes.
Excellent. I'm going light.
you. Okay. What about you, Abernathy?
I think I'm going to break the mold and go normal. I kind of want to look prepared since I'm supposedly the one who may be trying to get inducted. I don't want to seem like I'm unprepared.
Perfect. So do an engagement roll. Just roll it as fortune on your character sheet.
And I add a bonus die for a total of 2 for my devil's bargain.
Correct.
So roll fortune, number of dice, 2. Submit.
Hang on, Did you already submit it?
I hit that, but it's saying input value now, so I can still cancel out if you'd like.
Yeah, you are also using contacts, so you'd have 1 additional die because of the crew sheet.
Okay, so a total of 3
3
dice. Submit, notes, blank, submit. 5.
So that's a 5.
So we are
so-
starting from a risky position.
Yep, you're starting for a risky position. So, as you all leave the area of the city of Doskvol, where you have your hideout, which is in Crow's Foot. No, you're in the docks, right?
No, we're in Crow's Foot.
No,
We
you're
have
in Crow's. Yeah, you
Yeah.
in Crow's Foot, and you move into Brightstone, where the Iron Shield has his hideout amongst the Church of Ecstasy. There's immediately a palpable change in the architecture, where everything in the city is pretty grimy and dirty, and covered in soot from the engines that more or less run constantly to keep the city going, right? A lot of the lights in other parts of the city are very haphazard. In a lot of places, there's no lights at all, like where you live in Crow's Foot, and people carry around hand lamps with them, right? You go into Brightstone, and immediately there's a shift. The ground is dirty, like the road is still covered in soot, but the buildings are clean. Most of the doorways to the shops have bright ghost energy lamps running, even though the stores are closed. And a lot of them, all of this entire district also has these bright, glowing lamps lining both sides of this avenue. The people that you pass along the way are not wearing, threadbare and mended clothes, right? The decent folk, the rich folk where you all hang out are like the Badgers from Firefly, right? They're the trash in a suit. You're in the place where the money is now, right? You'll also notice that a couple of times along the way, you are stopped by blue coats, but nothing comes of it. They just ask you about your business and check. Is somebody rustling with like a plastic bag?
I am. I have a little bag of munchies here. Let me get them out.
So this is like the good part of town. So you make your way past the well-to-do shops and these mansions and townhomes, single-family houses instead of what you normally see. And there's just this spire of a building stuck between two rows of townhouses with a small plant and mushroom garden around it like a little moat. And it's the Church of Ecstasy. And this entire church has bright ghost energy lamps simulating daylight throughout the entire garden around this church. They've clearly got a lot of money and a well-to-do clientele. So you guys are approaching this building. You have attained invitations to attend a service, or service might be a strong word, a meeting.
Orgy.
Yeah.
A gathering?
A gathering.
A munch.
Come all who may.
Yes.
A hootenanny.
Of this fine establishment. So you're not bothered as you actually enter in. There's two pretty well-to-do guardsmen. Jonas, you recognize immediately that both of them have stains on their hands that denote that they seem to have some sort of experience with alchemical and magic reagents. Same as with the accoutrements that are strapped onto them under their jackets. So it seems like the guards are pretty savvy here. They don't give you any trouble. They, welcome. And they gesture for you to go inside and mingle on the lawn where there's probably about maybe 36 people just kind of milling around, talking, eating actual proper fish, actual proper meat, things that most of you haven't seen in a long time, and some cheese and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my colon's going to be paying for it tomorrow, but I'm going to get in on that meat.
Yeah, you are.
Oh my goodness. Dime hates
All right, so you guys are inside. Like I said, the church itself, or the structure that the reclaimed church that they use, is 4 stories tall as far as you can see, not counting the actual tower. We haven't done any flashbacks yet, so you don't know much about whether or not there's an underground structure or what the interior structure is at this point, until we talk about that. And then also this pretty large garden around it, like I said, has about 36 people milling around, talking, drinking. Everybody's very fashionably but pretty provocatively dressed, whether it's just in the style of their suits and their colors that they're using, or the amount of the cut, shall we say, of a lot of their clothing.
You could have just said lack of suit.
Let me just say that as my vice is fashion,
You're about this place.
that I am dressed to impress.
Tell me what you look like. You're
Yeah,
you're in the powder blue suit from Dumb and Dumber. No, I'm kidding.
No. I'm wearing flatteringly cut breeches, I'll say. Breeches with a cut that flatters my masculine aspect.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you say they made your butt look good.
But that's part of his masculine aspect.
Everyone has a butt.
Yeah, but not everybody has a man butt. But anyway,
Yeah. You know, I'm wearing my little riding cloak with a blue floret motif.
nice. All right, so you're in. Your goal, the mission objectives are. You have a rough description of the Iron Shield. He keeps his head basically pretty much buzzed down. He has a very meticulously kept, like Van Dyke style beard. He's a physically imposing, but not giant of a man. But he's very fit, and he generally, from what you understand from the intel that you received, he generally dresses in a military style suit, reflecting his station in the Wardens. And despite his obvious indulgence in the pleasures of the flesh, he's a pretty severe man.
We know this.
Power bottom.
We know this going in.
Yeah, you guys did a bunch of information on gathering on him.
Can I describe my outfit as well?
Yeah, sure. You can do whatever you like.
You
tell me what's happening.
I didn't know if you were gonna make me flashback for it.
No.
Daimi is wearing the most demure clothes she owns. Like a high collar. She's got her hair as classy as she can remember how to make it, and she's wearing tasteful makeup. If we know he's a buttoned up dude, let's give him a challenge.
And I would likely be having on, a fitted waistcoat with a fancy cravat, and definitely something like cufflinks, something just shiny to set it off.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near that fancy. I'm just wearing my regular clothes.
You got like a coffee stain on your collar.
A little bit of stain on the sweater.
Look, if I'm dressing like the challenge, you have to dress like the snack, though.
All right.
Well, I mean, we've got a fashionista and a tailor. I'm pretty sure we can have a good outfit for you.
All right, Simon, what am I wearing? Who am I wearing tonight?
There you go.
But yeah.
All
right.
I'll put you in a functional yet fashionable designer alchemist's apron.
I love it.
And nothing else.
And nothing else.
Or like a lab coat. Like cut into a suit, basically. Like cut into a long jacketed suit.
Like physician's garb, or very professional, but also cut to flatter your masculine aspect. Everyone is getting flattered today.
That's good.
I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. That's good. I like it. So I would say that the mission objectives for this score is to identify the Iron Shield, the target that you need to eliminate. Eliminate him. And optionally, gather any other information that you want, but also extract yourselves without it reflecting back on you that you have done this.
The word of the day is autoerotic asphyxiation.
That's more than one word.
That's more than one word. But yeah, so does anybody have any objectives that they'd like to add to this score?
Not getting us implicated in it so I don't get cut off.
That's what I said. Extracting yourselves without it being traced back to you. All right.
My objective is to pirate some of this high tech from this place.
Thank you. I was going to go there. Yes.
Okay.
You mentioned that this is a very technologically advanced sort of mystery cult. I want to get some mysteries.
Okay.
I want to learn some mysteries.
So you're in kind of like the lobby area, like the garden area, where there's a bunch of people milling around. There's actual kept flowers and plants, and not just edible plants. These people have enough energy to spare, access to the power grid to spare, that they're actually growing garden-style plants.
Just ornamental plants.
Right, ornamental plants, purely decorative. Now, a lot of people are just kind of milling around. We're going to go around and try to give me a very specific thing that you want to be doing in this initial stage where you're just kind of milling around with everybody, and a lot of the lower level members of the cult are out here, or potential new members, but a lot of the experienced people or the higher level people, most of them are not here. There's a few of them kind of talking and keeping people engaged, but you're not seeing a lot of the people from the higher levels from what you understand. So why don't we start with you, Simon, since you have kind of something specific in mind that you want to do.
Okay. So I'm gonna let me take a quick look at my character sheet, see what my relevant skills might be here, or relevant characteristics.
Study would be good if you want to try to evaluate what kind of technology they have here.
Yeah, I was thinking about studying. I was thinking about a more specific thing, but I don't. I'm gonna.
Did we lose you?
You know, I'm here. I'm gonna. I'll study. I'm gonna study. I'm actually gonna study the gardens and see how they've got them planted and the kind of soil that they've got them planted in.
All right, go ahead and roll me a study check. You're in a risky position, and it's standard effect.
Okay. Oh.
All right, so tell me what kind of information you want to find.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide that one of the things that I'm carrying is chemical reagents, and I'm going to subtly pour one out onto the soil to see what color it turns, so that I can evaluate what the chemical composition of their sort of fertilizer is. So I can basically figure out how they're growing all these plants, what kind of soil they're using to grow all these plants, so that I can make a alchemical herb garden.
So it looks like, from what you can see with a 5, there is a, I believe, a minor complication. Yes.
That might be true.
Give me 1 second. I'm just double checking something. You're all right.
I'm here.
So, as far as the answer to your question, I think, if you will agree, it would be most interesting if they had they used, like, it's not quintessence. I'm trying to look up the word for it.
The electroplasm stuff?
Yeah, the plasm. No,
electroplasm.
The stuff that they specifically take off of the Leviathans.
Oh.
Yeah, the Leviathan blood.
Some kind of ichor.
Right, like a Icarus, like mixture to the soil. So it's basically like dead flesh and pure magic energy like blended into the soil. Now, I'm gonna say that you're bringing like your home chemistry kit in, which is fine. You can do that clandestinely for the most part. There's a minor complication. Remember that you can resist by taking stress, and that is that one of the other, not as drunk as you would have hoped, denizens of this gathering notices you and comes up and starts loudly talking about, what are you doing with that vial? What's going on? You got some special drug, something that you're working on over here? And you notice a couple other people kind of turn to look in your direction as this person loudly approaches you as you're studying and like taking a sample of the soil. What do you do?
What do? I got anything you could need, friend. Just keep your voice down, and I'll take care of you.
Okay, so you're gonna try to basically ignore it by taking stress, because with this complication,
no,
it's gonna increase.
Gesture at my little pack of vials, and basically offer him the knockout stuff.
Okay.
Basically, like, I got what you need.
Wait, didn't you make a silencing one? No, we don't.
That one's not done yet.
Oh, okay.
He's working on it, though. That's a long-term project that he's working on. Okay. So you're
I've got 3 things in my bandolier. One of them is this sort of reagent. The second one is sleepy time tea.
The third one is to be determined.
So you're going to offer them one of your sleep potions. I assume not enough to cause any kind of permanent damage or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so you drink that, and they go to sleep. And she just kind of lays down on one of the stone benches. People just kind of assume that she has passed out drunk. However, other people have taken note of your ware peddling, and several other people approach you, doing small talk and asking if later they can meet with you to set up various deals, and that increases the heat of this job by 1.
Yikes.
Fair enough.
Damn it.
Sorry, guys.
I mean, everybody rolls 5s or 4s. Like, that's like a big part of this game. Unless you got 3 dice, you don't have a great shot at getting a 6.
Yeah. I think you actually need 4 dice before you get a greater than 50-50 chance of getting one. At 3 dice is still like...
Most action rolls are supposed to have consequences, because that's where the narrative nougat lives. All right. So that's what Simon Bluefoot was doing during this mingling phase. Who would like to go next?
I have the vaguest of ideas.
Okay.
Be right back.
Daimi absolutely hates this because it's well lit and she's worried someone's going to recognize her face, even though she made it up, and styled her hair like artfully over it. So she's basically going to go get 1 drink, nurse it all night, and try to go look nervous and inexperienced in front of the higher ups that we clocked. We don't see Kieran outside, right?
No.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking for an invitation inside.
Okay, so you go up to like the refreshment table.
Yes.
And there's all the different fares, really good veggies, mushrooms, some arranged meat plates. And also, when you go up to get yourself a drink, there is a large, muscular man who's stripped to the waist, who takes a ladle of this dark red punch to put into a glass for you. When you take your first sip, you notice that it is actually fortified wine. It's not like mushroom liquor or like wood alcohol, like what most of the people in the city drink to get drunk. It's actual like proper fortified wine.
I mean, she's definitely going to have that 1984 reaction to it where, oh God, I thought this was going to be sweet and it's not. So like through taste alone, she's only going to be nursing it.
So give me a role that you would like to do during this period of time.
Can I?
And I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Give me something that you want to do that requires a die roll.
I don't know. I said I want to go look nervous in front of the higher ups and see if they pay attention to me.
Okay, so go ahead and roll consort. Risky position, no additional bonuses.
Effect standard?
Correct. And tell me, so you're just trying to like look coy and nervous? Like you're trying you're trying to look like a dom trap is what you're trying to look like.
You get it.
All right, so you got a 6, so tell me what happens. You tell me what the NPC does. I don't tell you what the NPC does. You have complete control over the situation.
Well, I want Kieran's best friend to be like, you look like somebody that he would have a taste for. Let's go in and meet my friend.
Okay,
you look
that's a little too highbrow, but I will say...
What happened to complete control?
Well, yeah, you can't be like, I rolled a roll and now... we're to the final stage of the score. But I will say, if that's what you'd like, I would say a very strong, muscular gentleman who is dressed in a military-style uniform, but has long, wavy hair approaches you, not matching the description of Kieran. But he's going to come and start chatting you up. He'll... offer to get you some of the foods off the table, and you notice as he's talking to you, he's being very polite. He's being very proper, but there's just like this undercurrent of innuendo and other things that he's working in. So I'm assuming you're just going to try to like keep up that demure, I have no idea what you could mean type of thing going.
It's completely sailing over her head. And,
or you're at least pretending that it is.
Yeah, and even if he does start getting more explicit, she's just going to, like, try her best to turn pink and, like, duck into the drink, but, like, not really take a sip.
Okay. His name is Reginald, let's say... And let's say his last name is Reginald. Man, I cannot think of names right now. Where's my name generator?
Crossfarth.
That is a mouthful.
Yeah.
That's good. That nameplate covers his whole uniform.
We're done. It's just Reginald Waystone. Okay, and he's going to keep talking and flirting with you, but you'll notice that he has a drink, but he's only taking very small, measured sips, whereas a lot of the other people in this party are going hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, he's like, you seem to be a little out of place, my dear, among such uncontrolled people such as these. I think I might be able to help you find company more suiting to one such as yourself. And he kind of puts out his arm for you to take his arm, and he's starts gesturing towards a part of the garden where this party is not going on, where the lights are roughly half as strong as they are here. It's darker, like more standard what you saw on the Doskvol street, as opposed to this brightly lit garden. That's one of the other things that's probably really strange for all of you, basically living in perpetual darkness, is they're pouring enough energy into this garden that it feels almost like a cloudy day, which is a lot of energy considering there's no sunlight.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go with them?
Oh gosh, it's such a like I'm either gonna go with him and like make stuff happen, or I'm gonna go with him and die. Are you talking to me? No, sorry. Excuse me. In for a dime, in for a dollar, I guess.
So you're gonna go?
Yeah, I'm gonna take his arm and say it would be a relief. It'd be a relief
for a
to...
dimey.
Yeah. I bet he's hoping to get in for a dime.
Yeah. It'll be a relief to be around people who actually want to remember instead of who are just playing to forget.
Okay. So that's what you're doing during this period of time. So who would like to go next?
Well, I was thinking about doing pretty much the same sort of thing, except taking a different tact. Instead of trying to look demure and vulnerable, I was going to go attempt to engage some of the higher-ups in their conversations and see if I could get invited in via impressing rather than being taken in.
Okay. How are you going to do that? Tell me what happens. Tell me what you're going to do.
Well, you said earlier that there were a group of the higher-ups, and there were kind of groups forming around them. So I want to kind of go and listen on the edges until until one of them is talking about something suitably mystic, and then I want to enter in, because one thing that's never really been brought up is that I'm actually from Tycheros, which is considered like the Mystic Isles. So I want to go find one of these conversations about like maybe the mystic stuff of the order, because this is after all for initiates, and go and try to insert myself into the conversation that way.
Go and blink.
Something up, blink sideways, exactly, and just go talk about maybe some what's what I'm looking for, some tangentially related fable from my homeland, and see if that clicks at all.
Okay, so I think that's a consort roll. And that's from a risky position standard effect, but I'm going to give you an additional die because this is feeding in directly to your character's backstory.
Sounds good.
And tell me exactly, so you're basically just trying to like insert yourself sideways into a conversation and try to draw the center of the conversation onto you with discussions of like the arcane and your ancestry. You're trying to basically play up like the Mystic Orient trope that these people, these well-to-do people, are going to have for your ethnic background.
Yeah, you see, well, maybe that is something kind of like in my homeland where they say this.
Okay.
Blink.
So, go for it.
Well, it's a good thing I got an extra die, my goodness. So that's a 5.
Okay. So you start telling stories about your homeland and about all the different experience, but it becomes somewhat apparent as they keep asking follow-up questions, and they're they have rapt attention, and they're asking you all these curious questions, that maybe you don't actually know a ton about magic. Which, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you're talking about it, but you don't actually have a lot of reference for it. I just had the skills open. Where'd they go? I need to just like put post-it notes all over this book.
Aaron, do it again.
Nice. Mine is still bare as can be.
It's the only way I find anything.
I want a book. PDFs only get you stuff.
Yeah, but you can control F a PDF.
So what I'm going to say is that in this case, you have the opportunity to have a harm situation happen where one of the leaders of the cult who's out mingling, who has just like a gaggle of hangers on, as you keep talking and it becomes clear that you're really trying to take over the conversation, he keeps asking you these really strong follow-up questions and also just like feeding you alcohol. And that's going to translate into a level 1 harm that is drunk.
Alrighty.
Now,
Well,
remember, you can resist that if you want. But that's a side effect I'm going to offer you.
Well, I mean, I did roll a 5, not a 6, so I do have to take some sort of complication. So,
Or resist it.
Yep. So I think I'm going to deal with the complication. A resolve roll got me into this, so I'm guessing a resolve roll is what's going to determine how much stress I spend resisting getting drunk.
Yep.
So bonus dice 0. I take 6 minus 4. So I take 2 stress to avoid getting hammered while he attempts to ply me and what I actually don't really know with alcohol.
So what I'm going to kind of play this out as you're kind of seeing that you're losing your audience, and you see that this guy is basically targeting you, trying to get you to make a fool of yourself. You start making these big gestures, telling these wild stories, and you keep putting your drink down to get your hands free to make these big gestures, and then very deftly, when you're going to pick your drink up, you're picking up somebody else's drink that has a lot less liquid in it sitting on like one of the tables or benches. So it looks like you're finishing the drinks, but you're not drinking them. You're actually drinking other people's drinks that have less. All right.
Yes.
So Aaron, otherwise known as Jonas, we also still need how you guys are going to extract from here. And there are heavily magicked up guards here.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about that, and I think I'm going to do the complete opposite of what everyone else is doing. I am going to make a scene and make a fool of myself.
Okay, how? Tell me what you do.
So, with the insight from, all the dead stuff in the soil, I'm kind of thinking, there's too much dead stuff around, so I'm just going to drink to dull the sensations and just, I don't know, just start talking to anybody that will want to listen to me tell stories about being on a boat.
So, question. Are you actually getting hammered, or are you pretending to be drunk?
Oh, no, I'll willingly have one or two too many.
Okay, then. So do me a favor and roll sway, but at a -1 die penalty.
Yeah, that's not going to help at all, because my sway is 0.
So you get to roll 2 dice and keep the lowest.
So I assume this is risky?
I would say it is risky with limited effect because you're drunk.
Now, you remember, if you want to just roll 1 die and keep it, you could spend stress for that. So take it from 2, pick the lowest, to just 1.
All right, so I think I'm doing this right. Well, that only rolled 1 die.
So just put in that it's 2 dice, and then you'll take the lowest.
Effect is limited.
I love this little cutout. You are a lucky son of a bitch.
That doesn't normally get put together with me and dice
And die
rolls.
rolls. I was like, show me 2 1s. That's always my favorite when that happens. Okay. So
yeah, I'm just going to, very loudly tell stories about, why I left the merchant crew, about ships and sailing, and about wind.
I can't remember. What's your ethnic background?
I am from the Dagger Isles.
Okay. So I think you're gonna basically start telling like lots of
Sailor stories.
sailor stories and stuff, and you start talking about like piracy, or basically just like a lot of the merchant vessels and things that in your time you or the people that you knew had seized through various privateer or less legitimate means. And eventually it gets to the point where someone who is the head of a naval family, one of the Leviathan hunting families, takes umbrage with it, and you actually get into a fist fight with that person.
Awesome.
So what ends up happening is they end up getting the jump on you, and you take 2 harm.
All right.
Hold on. Is there any way that we can exploit this to create cover for attack on our target?
Sure.
Well, I mean, it's going to take him time to get hammered.
As long as Aaron is willing to take a devil's bargain to create that diversion and make it a 3 harm, because they basically take him out of the party and like beat him up in the alley.
3 harm. So what's the consequences of 3 harm here?
So I would say that you have you're broken. You have broken ribs and a broken arm.
Ouch.
Yeah, pretty much if you're doing anything that would need your ribs, like, actually
Breathing.
carrying weight. Well, actually
Breathing,
carrying
talking,
weight.
laughing.
Or anything that would need using your arm, like any of your alchemical rituals would wind up, you'd get, let's see, what's for 3? 3 is need help, so you couldn't do those on your own, period.
So I'd write down broken ribs, broken arm.
Yeah.
Do we still have the Medicare at our disposal, or did we exhaust?
We exhausted him, but because we've had him before, it'll be easier to get him again.
That's correct.
All right.
Well,
Broken ribs, broken arm. There's not the end of the world. I think I'll take it.
So we'll call him. I need my name generator. So we'll call this gentleman Montaigne Araxis. Not, but because you might want to get retribution on him later. And
I'm writing the name down.
He and a couple of his hangers-on who look like they'd much rather still be in the party. They walk you out past the guards under the pretense of like helping you walk it off. The guards just kind of let that carry your drunk ass out. They go take you a couple blocks and they basically toss you down an alley. And he has this very thin, very hard, like petrified wood cane that he just like beats the shit out of you with. So you end up with a broken arm and most of your ribs broken.
Awesome.
And they just kind of leave you there.
I at least bled on him, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So while this is happening, I'm going to say that we have basically a concurrent, like a joined plan. That when you guys see this happening, you know that you can't really intervene without blowing your cover. So anything that you're going to be doing during this period of time, I'm going to say that you have a +1 die for this very brief period of time where this, like, verbal altercation and, like, this loud, boisterous element where they kind of scuffle with him and then carry him out. You have 1 additional die.
Use it well, guys.
So I'm going to say, well, Daimi is off doing her own thing. Abernathy and Bluefoot, what's a joined action that you guys think would fit here? Also, nobody has used a flashback or a piece of gear yet.
I used my alchemy.
Oh, you did.
Bandolier twice.
Yes. Nobody's done a flashback yet.
I have a flashback in mind, but I'm saving it for the right moment.
Okay, but what do you guys want to do during this period of time? Well, everybody is just basically... Did you see that drunken idiot? I can't believe that somebody would invite someone so undecorous to our gathering. Clearly not a good fit. I'm sure he was set straight, though, by Montaigne.
I wonder...
Or broken.
I wonder if Abernathy and I can sort of corner our target, and I can inject him with something while Abernathy talks his ear off.
You haven't found him yet.
Yeah, we were going to try to use this to get the jump on him, but he's not actually here.
Well,
So
He's not outside.
I guess now would be the time to get inside using this somehow.
yeah, you guys could
That
try
sounds about
to
right to me.
sneak past the shirtless, like, valets and attendants, and that's both women and men, who are basically acting as kind of the shepherds of this party, keeping people in the well-lit area as people are getting more loose, figuratively and literally, and getting more amorous with each other and trying to saunter off before the actual rite of ecstasy takes place. People get distracted.
Why don't we see about we can do a joint sort of action? I've got a crowd, including some of the higher-ups around me. Daimi's hanging on the arm of one of the higher-ups. Simon is hanging with a bunch of other people who are trying to talk to him. Why don't we just do kind of a group consort, since they're all still people we don't really know, and see if we can use this altercation, worm our way into where the ritual is going to be.
Well, you could also sneak in at this point, because nobody has eyes on you. I don't know what your gentleman's stealth skills are. I mean, actually, you have 1 in prowl, which is not nothing. What has Bluefoot got?
I think I also have 1 in prowl.
That's not terrible. And you guys would combine dice and get 1 additional each. So you'd each be rolling 2. And then whoever initiate the action would just get the stress from the 3s or lowers.
1, 2, 3, not it.
I do have eyes on me, so I can't do it.
Yeah, we're going to come back to what's happening with you in just one second.
Shit.
Are we going to try to prowl in?
Sure.
Okay, so why don't we start with you, Emrys, since you're assisting. Why don't you roll your 2 prowl? It's
Alright.
in a risky position with superior effect because no one's looking at you.
So, great effect. Submit, bonus dice, 1, roll.
So I make...
Sigh.
It's okay. And
Simon.
Yeah.
Simon.
so how many stress per does he take for that?
Just 1, because so far it's 1 person who got a 3 max.
Okay. Simon, don't forget to do your rolls for Bluefoot. But this is good. We're getting the good dialogue going here. Like, in this game, like what Aaron did, like letting something bad happen to you to give the party an advantage is a big part of this game. Like, your character is the currency that you spend. I see at least a 4 in there. Okay, so you're going to take 2 stress.
Wait, why?
Because
2.
he also rolled a 1.
You only take the highest die.
Okay. All right. So you take 1 stress, Bluefoot, and you also have the mixed success bag. So what's gonna happen is there? I don't think harm necessarily works here, and I don't even think necessarily a complication works, because the only way I could complicate it is by making it not happen or making you get caught. So I think in this case, what it's going to be is, since you basically have to rush into the building and close the door behind you, you are moved into a desperate position. The two of you.
Well, okay then.
Does that seem fair?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. Simon, did you mark your stress?
I did.
Perfect. Daimi. So you are led. What did I say that guy's name was? Reginald?
Reginald.
Reginald leads you into a more secluded part of the garden where there's a nice fountain with several of those like semicircle benches around it. And as you approach this more secluded area, you'll notice not only are there 2 gentlemen who are also dressed in the more formal, like kind of like gray blue suit that Reginald is in, but both him and now you notice the other 2 are wearing these necklaces that have the symbol of the Church of Ecstasy, and they're emblazoned in like a bright silver, which you did not notice most of the other patrons outside wearing. With them, there are a couple of women and a man engaged in some entertainment activities, shall we say? Okay. While one of the gentlemen in the suits is involved, and then the other one is just watching this scene unfold on one of the other benches while he kind of calmly drinks a glass of the fortified wine. And he just basically darts his eyes over to Reginald and nods before returning to continue watching the spectacle in front of him. So, Reginald is just going to kind of bring you over to one of the empty benches and sit and start sipping his drink and continue softly talking as if there aren't like 4 people having sex right in front of you, the 3 of you.
I mean, Demi's gonna go with it. She's gonna be polite about it. He brought her to his show. All right. You know, that's make it look like she's gonna start making it look like, okay, maybe I'm a little naive, but I did come here for a reason. This is the reason. Cool. And
okay, so do you want to roll a study for me?
Yes. Do I have study? I have 1. Risky. Standard. No bonus. Do your thing, machine.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
So
that's what's gonna happen.
I called for this roll, so nothing bad's gonna happen. But basically, with everything that's going on, you're not really focused on your surroundings, and there's an opportunity that was missed. That's what I will say at this time.
Well, I was going to finish up with she's going to start asking polite questions about the other viewers.
Okay. This might be an opportunity for a flashback to get information about the other members of the order that he is close with that may also live here or may be close enough to the Iron Shield to be considered his friends.
Yeah, I'll take that stress.
Okay, so tell me, if you were going to try to find out information about basically gentlemen inquisitors, what would your tack be? How would you do that? Talk to me about what this flashback is.
This flashback is going to. Oh, I have a guy. I know a guy. Casta, a bounty hunter. Can I bring him or her into this and say I go and say?
Yeah, as long as you can explain it.
All right, so we're going to compare notes on. I'm going to call in a favor because this is my favorable contacts, and I'm going to be like, hey, let's go canvassing and ask previous marks that weren't like death marks. Let's go ask previous marks and people we either let go or didn't let go. What do you know about this institution? And like there are bounties at all levels of society. So we're going from the low people that would be servants on the inside, and we're also going to like the higher ups that we didn't turn in.
Okay.
To be okay.
So
what do you know about these people?
So you tell me what information you find. What do you want to be the uniting thing behind these guys? And then I'll tell you how complicated it is, how you got it. So, like, whatever you think is the most interesting thing for the thing that binds these 3 officers, you tell me what it is, and then I tell you how complicated it is.
I have no idea what it could even be. I'm just trying to get to Kieran and kill him.
Okay.
There.
Any ideas, Mr. Vice?
A really bad one that would be hilarious to play out is that it's a title and they're all him. Yeah, I know. I told you it was a bad idea.
No, the demon wouldn't have done that.
So, I mean, something that I have thought of is to be a demon hunter, like a professional person who like fights monsters that most people just run from. You guys are getting stressed from stealing shit, right? Like these guys literally hunt demons who can grant wishes and like summon vampires and spirits out of thin air. Those guys would need to blow off steam. But if you're like the law, like the highest law of the land, you can't just blow off steam with random people. You'd have to do it in a very controlled way, and you'd have to have it be that whoever's involved is more or less sworn to secrecy, right?
They're been true.
So are the necklaces markers of rank, or are they like?
You tell me.
To call in later.
You tell me. Tell me what you think is interesting.
What's the coolest thing they could be?
I like the idea of them being like boons that you would get from a monarch, and it's one favor, no questions asked, but you only get one. So like they would have to keep. It's more interesting if they have to keep earning it back.
Okay. All right. So roll. Let me bring up your sheet. Roll probably for this gather check. You're probably gonna want to do consort
Again?
or hunt. Either one works. If you're consorting with a fellow bounty hunter, maybe hunt then.
That's what I was thinking. Submit. No bonuses for using my contact?
No, that's about +1 die bonus.
Nice. How do I make it add? There we go.
Nice, you got a crit.
Nice.
So, what is the thing that binds these 3 men to Kieran? And you just get to tell me their whole story. So we have Reginald. We'll say the other one is Gregor, and the third one is Liam. And they're all let's say centurions in the Spirit Wardens. They're like middle rank or like high level enlisted. They're not an officer, high ranking officer like Kieran is. So tell me all about him. What's the thing that binds the three of these guys to him? You can make it up and make it a big secret that they all share, or some sort of deviant, and it can't just be sex because everybody's into like weird sex in this setting.
Yeah. What do they do again?
They hunt spirits that didn't go to sleep, and whose bodies didn't get destroyed quick enough, and they hunt and kill people like Jonas, and they hunt and kill demons and the people who consort with them. Basically, anybody who risks bringing what's outside of the gates inside, they're gonna kill.
Oh well, then obviously.
They're also the only people who are like on the level, even if on the personal level they might be messed up. They are like the only unbribable police force in the city, because they believe that their mission is a higher power, because they're literally protecting everyone from doom. They're not the blue coats who are just extracting a different form of protection money.
Okay, so then with no one watching the Watchers, what if they've been executing people using the demons they're supposed to be hunting?
Okay.
And they're all in on it. Like if they can, like not run of the mill people like us and Jonas, like the people that people would notice if they went missing, like political figures and stuff, like the ones that can't be, executed through normal means because the court can't touch them. Instead, they just disappear them another way instead of going through the court system that they're supposed to uphold.
Vigilantes.
Right. So if I can kind of make sure that I'm on the same page for what you're thinking, you're basically saying that these four guys have taken it upon themselves to clean up the town outside of what they would normally do, and use basically their autonomy from the Emperor as a way of screening their activities. And you got wind of this by putting it together with your bounty hunter, a bunch of marks that you had that just turned up dead or what have you, or framed for various crimes and disappeared.
Yeah, and on top of that, instead of getting rid of the spirits, they're basically feeding them. Like, they're cultivating.
Okay, I have to jump in there. Like, these guys will not do that. If you want to have it be, want to be that they're like murdering people for political gain, or like like accumulating wealth, but like literally like these guys from the time that they're like teenagers are indoctrinated with that, like destroying spirits is the most important job that you can have in this civilization, and it's like a sacred duty.
Okay, then we'll stop it. We'll stop it. Vigilantism.
Yeah, I mean, murder's pretty rough.
It's Doskvol. Who gives a shit?
So you guys basically know that you've basically discovered that these guys who are part of this cult with Kieran are like his brothers in arms in more ways than one. You also know that this is good. So I'm going to give you a +1 forward on rolls dealing with them for like alertness, because you know that they're dangerous as shit. You know that you're not safe in the way that you might be normally. Does that make sense around somebody who's a spirit warden?
Okay.
All right. So I think that about covers that. Jonas, do you want to like shuffle your way back, or are you just gonna hang out outside?
Yeah, I need to shuffle my way back. However, I think instead of going in the main way, maybe I'll try to use some of our foreknowledge of this facility to try and come in a different way, rather than having the guards just kick me right back out as I try to shuffle in with my broken arm and wheezing.
Break your other arm.
So take 1 stress for a minor flashback.
All right.
And what's the type of alternate entryway that you're looking for? Just basically invent it.
I'm looking for like maybe not so much a servant's entrance, but something similar, something around small, tiny, that they don't use very often, maybe a forgotten door.
Okay, perfect. Let me look at your sheet. What do you have for this? What do you think this would fit?
If we're gonna case the place study, all
Yeah, why don't you roll that?
right.
So we'll say you come wandering around during, not daytime because there's no daytime. Well, there is day, but when it's more just like the groundskeepers and the other people
Right.
tending the grounds, and you kind of look around when there's not really guards posted. Because this is like a full garden outside. People from this part of the city can just kind of wander around in here. They just can't go inside the building.
Right. So risky.
Yeah, I would say you're still in risky. You're not like Abernathy and Bluefoot sprinting into the building.
Standard effect.
Correct.
No bonus. 5.
It's not bad. So you're able to find, let's say, a spirit that used to be a part of this place. We'll say that spirit's name is Jessica. And she used to tend the gardens back when this was a proper church.
Are you saying that the cult of Ecstasy is not a proper church?
I mean, the church, back when this was a church to the old gods, long time ago. And she shows you that way in one of the forgotten corners along one of the stone edges of the garden, there's actually a, behind a bunch of the ivy, you have to kind of like rip it away. There is a small, like grate door that you could crawl through to get back onto the grounds without being noticed. Complete entryway. However, since you did roll a 5, you're going to have either a harm, as she basically psychically lashes out at you as you're just basically compelling her to tell her story, or you're going to have to take on a time-sensitive project to help put her to rest because she's now attached to you. Not attached to you, but she's attuned to you and following you around.
Jonas, how many girlfriends are you going to bring home? You even have one boyfriend. What the fuck?
Let's see how many I can get. Let's take the project.
This is too many people that know where we sleep at night.
Okay.
This one's dead.
So this is going to be a 6-tick long-term project where you're going to have to find some items and figure out exactly what happened to her to be able to put her to rest. You have 2 downtime segments to make this happen.
Ouch. Okay. All right.
So you're back on the grounds.
I'm going to call this put Jessica to bed.
Okay. All right, Abernathy and Bluefoot. You're inside the church. It's dimly lit. It's fully electrified up. They've really made a very elegant mockery. The stained glass and murals that were originally probably part of this church have been completely reworked. They haven't been defaced. They've been removed and replaced with images of debauchery and, life, pleasures of the flesh and other things. They've really remade this building in their own image. That having been said, instead of there being just like the high dome ceilings like you would see in like a European cathedral, they've worked multiple levels of structure into this. It still has like a central cutout area that goes all the way up to the roof, but there's basically what would have been pews. There's now pews, multiple levels of pews going up, except for it's not pews, it's lounging beds and like little rooms and like curtained off areas for people to gather. Now, inside of here, there are a few people milling around because you guys did get a good roll coming in. Nobody notices you at this juncture, but you can see in various places and hear, the faint echoes of voices of people whispering, laughing, and other noises of pleasure and merriment.
Okay.
Do we see where Daimi is off the bat or no?
She's outside. She was in a secluded area of the garden. She wasn't inside the actual thing. But she is keeping this guy's 3 boys away from you guys.
True. Well, how are we going to find this guy?
So you're going to try to find him? That's the next thing, right?
Yeah, finding him would be the perfect place for, I think, a one-stress flashback to our original gather information checks on, where he is in here and everything, and the building itself, to know, exactly where his bedroom is.
Okay. So do me a favor. How do you want to gather this information? Who would you have spoken to? How would you have played out getting this information?
Alrighty. Well, I'm just trying to remember how we've already gathered information on this guy, because my whole premise of this flashback was it was in one of our previous information gathering sessions.
I hunted it down during downtime. I didn't see how.
So no, she located that he lives here. We're looking for information on where specifically he holds up, because other people just come here. He actually lives here.
Lives here. Okay.
Because he's one of the higher up members of the cult.
Okay, so how about I had to talk to somebody. Let's call this somebody who gave me the invitation. It's one of the higher up people in Madame Tesson's place. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a say here. Let's say her right-hand woman. And while I was getting the invitation, I was asking, is there anybody who I shouldn't disturb or I should stay away from? Well, wait, do they know what we're coming in here to do? They must, because otherwise I wouldn't risk losing them as a source of my vice, right?
They know that you're probably not going to do something great, but they don't give a shit as long as it can't be tracked back to them.
Okay, so I can talk to Madame Tesson's right-hand woman and ask her specifically about this guy.
Okay,
while I'm getting the invitation.
So do a consort.
Okay.
No bonus. You're still in a desperate position.
Okay. So consort, position, desperate. Submit. Effect standard. Submit. Bonus dice none. Submit.
So I'm gonna say that when you start asking about Kieran and where he is on the ground, and you start really digging into trying to figure out more about him and his habits, I am going to say that you don't find the information, and he gets there's a major complication. A description of you gets back to him, and that you are inquiring about some member of the criminal underbelly was inquiring very strongly about his living arrangements and his habits. If he sees you, the score is an immediate failure.
Great. Well, them's the dice, right?
Them's the dice. Now you can avoid it, but I don't think you can eat that right now.
No, after I spend a stress for the flashback, I'm up to I'm up to 5, and I don't have the ability that gives me a special armor.
Okay. So he can't see you or get like a strong look at you. I don't mean like see you from across the room. Like you can't like converse with him or be in close proximity to him because he's going to recognize you. And
Yeah, so I can't be the one to do the deed.
Yeah. All right.
Or
Bluefoot,
at least...
what are you doing?
Down. It's all on you, buddy.
Can I do a minor flashback to having cased the joint from the outside with a study to make a best guess of where quarters might be?
Sure. Roll it.
So I think that's what I'm going to do. Taking one stress.
Emrys, mark EXP. You failed a roll from a desperate position.
Alrighty. Oh, hey, I only have one more desperate roll left, or I could do a downtime training and I level up resolve.
Nice.
Desperate and effect is standard?
Correct.
And no bonus dice.
Correct. Okay. So, you're somebody who studies buildings, studies architecture, as just part of what you do. So it's pretty easy to figure out that back behind where the organ would have been, there is a rectory that would have been for the staff of the church. And it's connected to the back of the building back behind the altar. So there's probably his living space basically behind the altar, behind where the organ would have been. It's not there anymore. During that time where you're basically studying the building and trying to, get a sense of the building, what I'm going to say the complication is that you have reduced effect, meaning that you're trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, so you don't get a good sense of what the layout of that area might be.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, so Abernathy, what are we going to do this, or are we going to get out of here and reconvene with the others?
Well, honestly, I think we're it. Because Birdie's off keeping the buddies distracted.
Yep.
Jonas is probably securing our escape route. So I think we're it. But if he cottons to me, then we're done. But I have a couple of ideas on how we could do it.
Pick the most interesting one and let's start rolling. Because remember, there's no way that's more or less successful.
My idea would have to be, we will have to see about if we can do something that involves choking him or strangling him. I can pull out a vial of slumber essence, knock out one of the female guests, and have her, arrange them choking each other. Wink, nudge.
Can leeches make poison?
I think they can make poisons.
But I'm saying is that something that's in their purview?
I believe so. Yeah, that my understanding is that if there's anyone who makes poisons, it's leeches.
Yeah, because that would be a way that you could non have to you guys both of you guys are pretty soft, right? You're probably not going to be able to strangle
right
a trained
Soldier.
a trained demon-fighting knight.
Yeah. But if you had something like, say, blowguns and darts that you could poison him with, I mean, I'm carrying more gear than you. You could always have given me something to carry for you just in case, and then I produce it from my 5 storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. While you guys are thinking about it,
Poison then?
yeah. While you guys are thinking about that, let's jump back to Birdie. So you're watching this scene unfold. So it's you and Reginald, and then one of the other gentlemen is sitting on the other bench, just kind of drinking his drink and watching the third gentleman and the 2 others kind of just go at it on the other bench.
Can I tell which?
What do you mean, which is which?
I have all 3 names.
Okay, I can't remember the names I just gave you because that's why I have you guys take notes so I don't have to be typing.
Right, I
What are they?
Montaigne, Gregor, and Liam.
no, Montaigne is...
Montaigne's the guy that beat you up.
I have Gregor,
Oh.
Liam, and Reginald.
Reginald, yes.
So Liam is the young man who is currently engaged in athletic activities. And Gregor is the other one who's watching. And as this scene unfolds and you are having increasingly innuendo-laden conversation with Reginald, Gregor comes to sit on the opposite side of you on the bench and just politely talks to you. They still haven't made any body contact with you or anything like that besides gentle touches of the hand and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so you're in this situation. You have their rapt attention. The other guy is not paying attention to you at all.
And I know what I want to do. I don't have anything in it.
Also, I'm assuming you're giving an alias this entire time.
Oh, absolutely.
You seem puzzled by that suggestion?
Yeah, you've seen... Well, no, she's not puzzled by it. She's puzzled that I asked about it.
Yeah,
Has
hang
it-
on. Yeah, what's up? I'm Penelope.
Yeah. Yeah. Has anybody here besides me ever seen the movie Snatch by Guy Ritchie?
I have not seen it.
Yes.
Yeah. How are you doing, Saul? I don't know. I'd be doing a lot better if you'd stop using my name when they're doing the heist and the one guy keeps using his actual first name. Yeah. Because, that's how you get killed, which ends up getting them killed.
No, she's under something ridiculously native, like Rivka or something.
That's fine. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that you are in fact using an alias.
I am not telling these people who I am.
And you're also made up, so you don't kind of look how you would normally look, and you did your hair in a way that you wouldn't normally do it. So that's good.
Yeah, no, I'm I don't know what her play would be here. I don't know if she's trying to elevate herself. She's not going to respond to the guiding touches. She's going to be asking more questions about what's going on. Because she doesn't want to look like Dom bait anymore. Now she wants to be leaning towards more like sub-trading, anything to keep herself out of the middle.
But didn't you say you wanted a boyfriend?
No, my one goal is an empty bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think she wants a couple of serial murderers as her boyfriend.
I don't blame her.
No, God, I want an empty bed. I want hot water. I want hot food. And maybe someday, no alarm in the morning. That's it.
So do me a favor. Why don't you roll sway to maintain control of the situation? What?
I was going to say finesse.
No, come on.
You suck.
Okay, finesse is deft finger motion, and if you're using deft finger motion to control the situation, I think you've actually lost control of the situation.
Wait. I'm out. How do I make it 2 and take the lower?
Did you have 0 for that?
Yeah, I have 0 for that.
So just roll 2 dice and then we'll decide, we'll do the lower from there.
Did that do it right? There we go.
That's really not bad.
That's pretty darn good.
Could have been a lot worse.
That could have been worse.
It also says 0 dice take the lowest result on it when you roll it with 0 dice. I just noticed that.
Nice.
Yeah. It's really small on my screen, though.
But yeah, all right. So you get the 5. So you basically keep control, and it doesn't really escalate. You're basically keeping control of the situation so that you're not getting drawn into fooling around with them and basically like losing control. So what kind of other information do you want to get out of them as you're kind of controlling this conversation?
Well, we're all here for the church, right?
Yeah, this is like one of their orgies, basically. Which
right,
they're going to be moving towards that pretty soon. You actually hear one of the like porters going around with one of those gentle like chimes that they use to like usher people in.
Okay, I want to see if any of them give up their jobs, the names that I already have for them, and whether I'm going to ask if the two sitting on either side are old friends, if they know anyone in the show and how they know each other.
Okay.
And it's going to be, couched in, I have other people that like to see things, learn things, and still remember them. How many can I bring?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So, they start talking, and obviously they gesture to their uniforms and say that they are, spirit wardens, and that the 3 of them went through the academy together. And that they were apprenticed under the great Kieran, the Iron Shield, and they've been basically his unit ever since leaving the academy. Yeah, the 3 of these guys have basically known each other since they were teenagers. They're very closely linked.
And they're free with that information.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? Who wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, this is my buddy. Him and I went to the academy together." Right? Because unlike a lot of the other official positions here, like they actually go to like a proper school in the Imperial capital to learn how to hunt demons and like learn the magics that they use as part of their activities. Like this is an exceptionally dangerous group of people.
Okay, she's gonna get a little wide-eyed at that and be like, "Does he know you're not gonna get in trouble for being here, are you?"
And Gregor laughs like a deep laugh, and he's just like, compared to what Kieran's getting up to, this is probably tame by comparison.
Is he here?
Yeah, he probably has some starstruck thing. And he just gestures back towards the building. Some starstruck thing in his quarters. He doesn't hang out with the riffraff like us, and he just kind of chuckles, like he clearly means it as a joke. He don't like an audience.
Fishing.
Not like this fucker, and he gestures to the guy that's having sex on the other bench.
Well, it's a good show. And I'm sure you guys aren't slouch. I mean, I would have to meet him myself to judge, but you guys seem alright.
Alright. So, Jonas, what are you doing?
Alright, so
the complication that's going to come of that is you're moving into a desperate position, as you basically, everybody here is ostensibly here to like get drugged up or drunk and have sex, and you're like, it's starting to become noticeable that you're delaying that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're moving into a desperate position.
Some people just like to watch.
Yeah, but that's not what this party's about. Right? It's like Fight Club. The first time you come, you have to have sex. It's like Fuck Club. But anyway, Jonas, what are you doing?
Well,
Fuck club is you don't talk about fuck club.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish we wouldn't.
So, while I'm hobbling around, I'm trying to figure out what
yeah,
I
you're
can
like
do.
coughing up blood.
What I can do to create some sort of additional distraction to allow the rest of my crew to get out of this place. And I start looking at the lamps, and these are all spirit, like ghost lamps, right?
Yeah, this entire place is lit up like it's hardwired into the power grid.
So, and I'm going to blatantly rip off of something I read in the book, and I think I have an idea of how to create a pretty big distraction. But I don't know that it should happen now or after until Abernathy and Bluefoot are ready to do their thing.
Okay. Let's take a look at your sheet real quick.
So do you want me to tell you what my idea for a distraction is?
I would love that.
So
I live for it.
So, and I blatantly got this out of the book, though I'm going to use it a little bit differently than the book proposed it. Since the lights is all spirit energy, I can technically attune that apparently. So I'm thinking about creating a feedback circuit using myself as the middle link and shut the lights down.
That would be a very cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Just kind of short everything out in the building. Lights go out. We can get out clean.
So, do you have any other harm besides...
No.
Okay.
So I fully expect I'm taking some harm from this. And
no, but
yeah.
I'm just saying, you basically have to get into a position where you're going to need to know when the deed is done to be able to know when to do that distraction. We can do that with a flashback from somebody where you guys set up some sort of signal or brought some sort of gear to cover that. But yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a flashback to suggest this to them that, once the deed is done, signal me with, I don't know, a blue coat whistle. That's not likely to go off right in and around the church, but it'd be noticeable and distinct.
Okay, so that's a 1 stress flashback.
Yep.
All right.
Oh shit! How much stress for mine?
Oh, the thing where you found out that information about them? That's
yeah.
That's 2, because that was a lot of information.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm really excited but this is the narrative stuff that I really love, because since you specifically said that you made yourself up, put yourself in different clothes, and like did your hair in the way you did, the chances of these 3 guys recognizing you later, and there's no case for additional heat, right? So Birdie, you've shut off that complication for the interactions that you're having. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so gentlemen inside. What are we doing?
So, well, just to finish mine up, I'm going to situate myself near kind of a off the side lamp that's somewhat close to my personal escape route, which is that gate I came in through. So I'm not really out there in the crowd. I'm just kind of off somewhere, off the beaten path a little bit.
Okay. Gentlemen, Abernathy, Bluefoot.
Well, we have an idea of where his quarters are. What I can do is I can use one of my 5 gear, because I haven't used any yet, I could pull out a set of blueprints that we made before the thing, because it says I set what the blueprints are when I use them as one of my load, and Bluefoot here can guide us to where he studied the guy's quarters to be, so we can go try and find this guy, so we can attempt to poison him, and then use the sleep essence to I just had a brain fart, to frame somebody.
Nice. Okay.
So, I am going to use my one of my 5 load to pull out the blueprints so we can go there.
Okay.
Okay. So, are both of you going, or are you just going to relay the information to Bluefoot?
I figured we'd both have to go, because I can't be the one to engage him, because if he notices me doing that, we're done.
Okay. So, let's just basically say that as people start filtering through, and the higher-ups of the church start mingling with the different precious metal necklaces around their necks, everybody kind of comes up from like the VIP area behind the altar where he was hanging out, and you're basically able to like slowly mingle your way without getting noticed into that back area. However, the sleeping quarters back there that aren't part of like the multi-tiered levels in the main church, that is locked, so that will have to be tinkered open.
Okie doke.
Well, what I can do then for Bluefoot is I can be the one, because he's at 2 gear and I'm at 5, so I could be the one to provide the tinkering tools for him to use, so we both still have load available.
That works.
Sure.
All right, so make the roll for the tinker, but with the bonus that you would get from your tools, which I believe is 1 additional die.
Okay. Am I still desperate?
You are still in a desperate position because you guys haven't done anything substantive to get into a better position.
Bonus die 1.
I mean, you're rolling 4 dice. That ain't bad.
I have a 6.
So that's a 6. So you're able to force the lock without damaging the lock in any way, and it opens up into his living quarters. Most of the items inside of here are under lock and key. However, you will notice that there are several half-finished bottles of wine with corks still in them, as well as various perfumes, colognes. Looks like he has like a wash basin and some like alchemical soap. So there's a lot of his products that he would put on his skin or inside of his person that are inside of this place, and you're the only people back here currently.
We could take a risk and just... How would we just...
Poison everything?
We just poison a bunch of his wine.
Poison it all.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't give a shit about these people, right?
Yeah.
No matter how many people he brings back to the room.
Like, he's clearly a pretty careless drinker. Drinking from a lot of different things.
Does that offend you?
I don't know. I'm saying that just means that he's not going to be paying too close attention.
Now, do you want to do anything where you, like, look for the best bottle here? Or do you just want to poison everything?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know enough. I'm going to say, like...
Yeah, no, that's fine. So roll it. Roll...
Like, I don't want to...
What would that be?
Am I still just tinkering, deciding how much poison to measure out into each one, and...
Or perhaps study or survey to get the read on which is the best bottle that he's favoring the most, to know which one to poison?
I mean, my plan is poison everything.
Okay.
So it's really a matter of like measuring out appropriate amounts of poison so that no matter which one he drinks.
Give me a second. I'm thinking.
And if you have any contact poisons, we could put it in the lotions as well, so he rubs something on himself, and he dies in a mound of glistening flesh.
I would say study.
Emrys, you're revealing a lot about yourself tonight.
What you guys don't hear is a soundtrack inside my head, and like the guy's theme from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is what's going on right now.
When you're in a hole, stop digging.
No, eventually I'll come out in China, and then I'll fuck them too.
And
All right, roll it.
this is the big one. So
You know what? Is there some?
So I'm gonna offer you a devil's bargain.
I was about to ask for one.
I'm gonna say that I will give you an additional die for this roll, to measure out this poison, and just basically make sure that you put a lethal dose in all of these bottles. However, that is gonna come with a major complication that several high society people are going to die, and there's going to be a bounty put out to find who did it and kill them, bring them to justice. There's going to be a significant moneyed bounty placed on whoever caused this outcome. Now that's something that you can manage, because that'll be a clock that I start.
I'm thinking I have the ability to assist.
It's not. Let him think about it before you jump in with any additional assist rolls.
Oh.
Because he has to accept this regardless of whatever you're offering.
I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on that devil's bargain.
Okay. So, what were you going to say, Emrys?
As my spider mastermind thing, I do have the ability to assist him stress-free if I could just figure out how I did it, but I'm running low on real-life ideas.
Okay.
I mean, you could assist me by sort of trying to basically do a cold read on this guy socially based on him, what we know about him, and then saying what kind of drink would this guy lean towards.
Yeah, I'll let you give a bonus die for no stress. Let's see how the roll shakes out, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Study.
So it's going to be 3
Desperate.
dice.
Standard.
And you could always give yourself 2 stress for an extra bonus die on top of my assistance, because it is like the
Correct.
score-making roll.
Correct.
Okay, that'll bring me up to a healthy 9 stress.
You know, keeping it cool.
Well, that would give you a trauma, so it's up to you whether to do that or not. I'm the stress junkie. I'm the one always suggesting it. I do it a fair bit.
I'm going to just
But
take
that doesn't mean
one
you
bonus
have to.
die.
All right. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay, you do it. So you're able to find that by poking around the room a little bit, you're able to find that basically put down, there's a bunch of wine in glasses. You'll notice that when you're looking over, and this guy has like 2 huge beds basically put together. He's also got otherwise a pretty well put together room. Everything's really under lock and key, as I said before. But looking around at the different wines and spirits he has out, and the glasses, you notice that most of the glasses have like lip stain on them, like makeup and lip stain on them. But you do find a very rare vintage of hard spirit basically tucked in between his side table and the bed. And it's a very old, like 25-year vintage of actual proper whiskey, which would be exceedingly rare. And you pretty quickly surmise that's the bottle that he's pulling from, and you put the poison in there, and that's obviously not something he's sharing with his guests. However, I am going to say that in your haste to basically get this done and get out, you do have a complication that comes up because you're in a desperate situation. So that's exciting for me. So I would say that the serious consequence is that the spirit wardens immediately start an investigation, because they're able to basically very easily able to figure out, like, you're mixing it to be as potent as possible, not to be potent but indiscernible, so it's very clear that he was poisoned by somebody. So they immediately start an investigation, which in the short term is going to add an additional heat to this job. And it's also going to start a clock called Warden Retribution. And that's going to be their own long-term project. And it's only going to be 4 ticks.
Oh, shit.
Oof. But yeah, so you guys have done the deed, and I'm assuming you skedaddle as quickly as possible to reduce the likelihood that Abernathy gets found, right?
Of course.
Now, you did do the schematic so that you know that there is another way out. It only opens from the inside. Like his living quarters, like a rectory on a church, has like a small, normal house-sized door leading out. But it usually only opens from the inside so that people coming in always have to go through the front of the church. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're able to get out without walking back through the common area.
That can be where we meet Jonas to get the lights powered out if we think we need it.
Now, Birdie, when the chimes start dinging, it's Gregor and
Liam,
Gregor, and Reginald.
Yeah, Liam winds down his activities and he kind of skedaddles the young lady and the young man to go back with the kind of shoos them to rejoin everyone else. And then the 3 of them the 2 of them plus him engaged in conversation with you, start, very politely, like you're a guest at a party, moving you towards the church to bring you inside for the main event. And Reginald, without any malice in his voice, just says, "I think your the innocent maiden game is just about to expire here." And he just starts leading you in towards the church.
So she's going to break out and say, "There's nothing innocent about it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated the show. I was waiting for your turn, but since we're out of time, I'm going to go find my own softer company."
Ooh. Ooh.
ouch.
Ouch. Okay. So roll consort. Or sway. Sway, I would say.
Oh, damn it. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Crew mode, faction mode. Me. Sway. Oh, shit. I'm desperate. Right?
Yep.
Fuck me.
Now you
That's
can take
their plan.
You can take 2 stress to get an additional die.
Do that.
Yep, so mark it. Man, I love these joint sheets. They're so good. Everybody able to... Did you mark the 2 stress?
I'm doing it now. I'm not looking at my numbers yet. I can't see them. Nobody react. Stress is on.
So you rolled a 4.
Okay. Whew. They can watch.
So you're going to actually go back into the party proper, or you're trying to fully extract yourself from the situation and leave with the boys?
Okay, I'm going to say, I appreciate the show you gave me. Do you want, like, I want to repay the gesture. Come, like, let me go find somebody and I'll come find you. And then I'm run with the boys.
Okay, that makes sense. So, I have an idea for a complication, but I don't think I can do that complication because you'd basically just get killed. Give me a second.
It wouldn't be the first time you had set up one of my characters to die.
That's true. You did that of your own free will, though. But yeah, okay. So I would say...
The third. This is the third of my characters you've set up to die.
I'm not trying to set you up to die.
Yeah.
And the second one you set up to kill while she's having sex.
That's fine.
You could have just gone along with it and then walked away scot-free in the morning. That was an option.
So I'm going to say that you're able to basically navigate yourself out of the situation and get them to let you go. But as the three of them are basically taking a very circuitous route to the building through some of the darker parts of the garden, they kind of show you their teeth a little bit. And when you combine that with your paranoid trauma that you have, you manage to get yourself away, but you have a level 2 harm, which was...
No, I have level 1 harm.
No, I'm giving you a level 2 harm right now. That is scared to death. Where, like, you were basically, like, you thought for sure that they were basically going to just, like, murder you. Because they started really, like... The facade dropped and they started being very dark and very pointed to see whether or not they could spook you and get you to jump. And you maintained your composure, so they let you go, but you were very much so scared by them. These guys that work for Kieran are not nice guys.
Okay.
But you get away, and you have that. So you're all going to leave out through the secret door?
If we can.
Yep, you're done. So you guys successfully poison him. He dies. We're going to have to do most of the downtime activities next time because I have to get to bed very shortly. But I think we got a lot of really cool shit in this session. Here's the cool thing. You don't get any coin for this one because you were repaying a huge amount of coin that you got earlier. Right. However, the notoriety of this mission is huge. I'm going to say that this is a 4-rep. This is a 4-rep mission. Okay, so you guys get a huge amount. When we talked about the heat, because of the type of people that it was against, it was against somebody higher level, so that's a base of 2. And then you guys got an additional 2 during the course of the mission. And we're done there. Let's look at Gang EXP. You did execute a successful espionage mission. You contended with challenges far above your station. So I'd say that's 2.
Now, because it was an espionage mission, does that mean that even though we don't get a whatchamajigger, doesn't our dead drops thing trigger? Because that's just any successful espionage mission, so the gang would get 2 coin from that, right?
Correct. But I'm saying there's no coin for the actual job itself.
Right.
Right. So we get 2 instead of like 6 or 10 or whatever.
Correct. Basically, you were able to, as part of this, you were able to scrape up enough information from small talk and like items and like maybe items that you saw in his quarters to basically get some good blackmailable material to sell.
Woo.
All right, so that's the that is the crew sheet. Let's go around very quickly and do all of your EXP, and then I'm gonna need to call it for the night. So let's start with you, Jonas.
All right, so I had no desperate action rolls, so nothing there. Did we ever get around to doing the electricity thing or no?
I don't think so.
I don't actually think you needed it.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I did study, so that would be knowledge, right?
Yep. And you also, do you get something for communing with ghosts as part of...
That would be expressing my beliefs, heritage, or background.
Yeah, so yes, because you used information that you gained from an attuned ghost.
Right. And then struggle with issues from vice or trauma. I don't think I really dealt with that.
No.
So.
All right. Abernathy.
Well, I did a desperate resolve roll, so I marked that. I addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy. I'd argue that yes, with the whole getting us, this whole thing was kind of like a giant conspiracy to get us in.
Yeah.
But that's up to you.
Yeah, that's one.
Beliefs, drive, heritage, or background. I inserted my Tycheros thing in there to help get myself in, so I'd say that.
Yeah, so that's
and
3.
Struggled with issues of my vice or traumas during the session. Well, I put my ability to get my vice on the line, so I'd argue for that as well.
I mean, but you got a huge mechanical benefit for that, so I'd say 3 is what you're going to get.
Okay.
Bluefoot.
Well, I think I made 3 insight rolls under desperate.
You did indeed.
So I'll tick those up. I'd say I had addressed challenges, technical skill, and mayhem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll add one to my playbook. And
Okay.
And I went in for leaned into my sort of fashion thing for the party, which might be...
Yeah, I'd say that. That was a huge factor in me not having Birdie get hunted down and murdered after this session.
Yeah.
So I would say that you would get an XP for that.
Go you.
All right?
Yeah.
Birdie, or do you have any
Banner
others?
day.
I rolled one desperate roll that I already marked. I addressed a challenge with tracking.
Yeah?
I struggled with issues from my trauma. And this one's on you, boss, but I would say that I expressed one of my drives, which is to, like, have an empty bed at the end of the night. But that's up to you.
Yeah, I'll accept that.
Okay, so I got 3.
Perfect.
So I did.
So we are going to do downtime next time, and then we'll jump right into the aftermath. I have a lot of clocks that I need to study in order to figure out what's going on in the aftermath of one of the most prominent members of the Spirit Wardens being murdered. So I will say, before I forget, let me get into Daimi's sheet where the crew is. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep her as a... I'm going to just complete this. Oh, somebody's moving the sheet while I'm on the sheet. So I'm going to... Can I not delete this? Okay.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to delete clocks.
Okay, that's fine. I'll figure it out later. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm going to say Alexandra
Oh, there we go.
is, except for not... There we go. Alexandra is added as a limited use contact. I can't tell you how limited, because that wouldn't be fun. And you guys avoided her wrath there. And yeah, so we're going to see. So one of the big things with this system is the world kind of turns and adjusts around your actions, but also independent of your actions. So I need to do some recalibrations there. And we'll see everybody watching in the next session.
See you guys.
Hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.